Welcome to Maintenance 100, Preventive Maintenance Best Practices for FAS and V-Series Storage Systems. The building block videos are targeted at NetApp and partner engineers as well as do-it-yourself customers. Always consult the most recent documentation before starting any work. This video will discuss preventive maintenance steps for end users to perform on a regular basis to keep their storage systems healthy. Do your research. Will the new version or patch fix a problem you are experiencing or add a feature the business needs? If not, then perhaps it is best to not fix something that is not broken. What are the vendor's recommendations on when and how to implement the new version or patch? Verify all the features you use are still supported or backwards compatible. Checklists, even crude ones, force you to work through the process on paper before potentially making a fatal mistake on your systems. Preventive maintenance tasks are ideal for turning into checklists. The Install 100 video has a segment on creating effective checklists. Estimate time. If everything works perfectly, how long does each task take to complete? When all the tasks are added up, how long will all the work take to complete? It is rare for everything to work flawlessly, so add a buffer. Finally, assume everything will go horribly wrong and estimate how long it will take to undo all changes. Now you have the amount of time you need to request to perform the maintenance. Pick a time to perform the maintenance. Ideally, your business understands the importance of maintenance and provides regularly scheduled maintenance windows that all users are aware of. But things often break without warning and repairs cannot be scheduled. So you have to ask yourself, what is the impact of the company on delaying the change or fix? Maybe the company can limp along a few more hours until the end of the business day, but not until the weekend. And we live in a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week world where the downtime costs our company money. This makes it difficult to choose a time to perform maintenance. A good rule of thumb for 24/7 businesses is to observe what days and what time of day the parking lot or office is emptiest. This is when the business can most afford to take downtime. And symptoms do not always manifest themselves where the source of the problem is, so a potential fix may only shift the problem somewhere else. So you want to consider the amount of time it will take to undo the fix or to implement another solution. Notify users. As systems and storage administrators, we are the custodians of user applications and data. And our job is easier when users understand why maintenance needs to be performed and exactly how they will be impacted. Do not simply state the network will be down. Explain that access to their network drives, email, and internet access will be unavailable. Provide plenty of warning and provide contact information for feedback. There may be business processes you are unaware of that require rescheduling the maintenance window. For example, if accounting mentions that payroll is processed Thursday nights at 10 p.m., then you should probably find another time to perform maintenance. Submit a change request. Cover your assets and at least notify management of any planned changes, even if you do not require authorization to make those changes. Open a support case. Time is precious when things go wrong. If it takes 10 minutes to get through the phone menu to open a support case, spend those 10 minutes before you start working. Talk to the support engineer and maybe even email them a copy of your checklist. They may be able to offer suggestions, tell you of additional sources of documentation, or mention problems other customers have experienced. Update the change log. Every major system and application should have detailed records of all changes made to them. Change logs often provide a way of detecting recurring problems over long periods of time. For instance, over a 3-year period, you may notice a server panics and reboots every 276 days. Further investigation of the server may detect a slow memory leak that takes 276 days to fill up system memory. Daily best practices. Chances are, if the system is unhealthy, it sent out an AutoSupport email. This is the first thing you should check for each morning. A storage system that can't access its disk can't serve data, and a leading cause of issues is a fault in the cabling components. The Config Advisor tool only takes a couple minutes to run, so it can be used on a daily basis. On 7-mode systems, check the Etsy system log for any warning level and higher messages for indications of potential issues. The event management system in cluster Data ONTAP consolidates the messages from every node into a single repository.
If a component has failed, replace it as soon as possible to prevent a potential cascade of failures causing a system outage. This config advisory report informs us the shelf stack attached to port 2B has a cabling error and the etc file is incomplete. Weekly best practices. By default, every weekend a NetApp storage system will send an AutoSupport email, even if nothing is wrong with the system. These weekly AutoSupport messages are then parsed and serve as a foundation for a number of tools used by NetApp to provide proactive support, like the health warnings in My AutoSupport on the support website. No later than Tuesday morning, storage administrators should log into My AutoSupport to verify a weekly AutoSupport, or ASUP, was received by NetApp for every single storage system or cluster node they own. While in My AutoSupport, look for any new health warnings. Verify the systems have enough spare disk for every type of disk attached to the system. Generally, 2 spares for SAS, 2 for SATA, and 1 spare SSD drive. The backup administrator can't back up what they don't know about. In environments where there are multiple storage administrators, or end users have permission to create volumes and queue trees, do a weekly search for new volumes and queue trees to make sure they're being replicated and/or backed up to tape or disk. Temperature extremes and excessive voltage are the primary culprits for reducing the lifespan of electronic components, so run the environment command to catch any potential issues. Volumes and aggregates that need high read performance are good candidates to move blocks around to improve seek times. In 7-mode Data ONTAP, this is accomplished with a reallocate command. In cluster Data ONTAP, you can simply move the volume to another aggregate. Cluster Data ONTAP saves the configuration for every node in a database that is copied to every node in the cluster, so is adequately backed up. For 7-mode systems, use a config dump command to make a copy of the system configuration so it can be easily restored if it gets corrupted or deleted. And here's an example of the health summary from My AutoSupport. Monthly best practices. The primary benefit of high availability pairs is their ability to take over for one another in the event of a failure. Storage administrators should verify failover functionality works at least once a month, rather than find out during a failure it has been disabled. The next 2 bullet items go hand in hand. If the frequency and quantity of data end users are adding or changing and a volume has changed, consider changing how the data is protected by increasing or decreasing how many snapshots are taken each day, and how long before the snapshots are automatically deleted. You also need to consider how quickly end-user usage and a change in snapshot policies will consume remaining free space in the volume or containing aggregate. Backups are only good if you can recover data from them, so test your recovery procedures regularly. This will also keep your recovery skills honed in the rare event of an actual disaster. The disks and disk shelves are the most important components of a storage system, so keep them up to date. Firmware doesn't change very often, but when it does, it's generally to fix a serious bug. Volumes with a moderate read and write I/O workload, or have seen a significant recent increase or decrease in the amount of data, may see a bump in performance if you restripe the data to make it contiguous. Semiannual best practices. Check the expiration date of your support contract. The renewal process can take months, so start the process before it lapses and you find yourself without support coverage. If you have ever installed a temporary license, check to see if it has expired and either remove it or purchase a permanent license. Passwords have a way of spreading, and employees switch positions or leave, so change the root or admin passwords to ensure only those who have a need to know the password. If the equipment has been moved, or responsibility for managing the storage has changed, update the RMA contact information to ensure replacement parts are sent to the correct person at the correct address. If you have a disaster recovery procedure, test it. A disaster is the worst time to find out your backup batteries don't hold a charge, the diesel generator needs maintenance, and the WAN connection between sites won't handle the increase in network traffic. High availability pairs work best when both controllers are operating at 50% or less of their capability, so there is a limited performance degradation during a failover. Unless your systems are running a general availability release of Data ONTAP, schedule an upgrade to install a GA release. The behavior of GA releases are better known, so are easier to troubleshoot when there are problems. Finally, keep your skills and knowledge current by taking training or attending a NetApp sponsored event.